We'll just try. And one more thing is that 2 more minutes. I'll tell you whatever a little that I know on planning. I had a lot of suffering when I was a student, and my suffering I have not told to many. Only in the classroom at times I used to share. When I take the book for law, one paragraph definitely I will read with maximum concentration. Next paragraph, when I proceed, I will think of auditing, and I will keep auditing book. When I have auditing, first one paragraph I will study properly. I will study. Next paragraph when I go, like Euriska, I had by that point of time SADP. Oh, SADP I have to study. I have not studied well. Okay, take. If I take this, then all 8 papers material will be there. Table will be full of material. My parents will be just going here and there. They will be seeing the child. Oh, Allah padikrama. They are studying well. Huh? So my mother will ask question. Hey, tea, coffee, anything you want? So I cannot tell all this difficulty. I feel like cheating my parents. And 1 hour, 2 hours gone, no progress at all. One paragraph I am not in a position to reproduce and write a single tangible thing. I really felt like I should beat myself. What is this? No progress. Time is running. So that point of time I had to go to office and all that. In the office, one Vasudevan came for, he's a qualified person, BSc Physics, qualified, wanted to see my auditor. He had just come. He called him, Anna, how did you study and all that? So, because all these people will chase a person who cleared, as if he is God, messenger. How did you study? Huh? And these people will always have a very ready-made answer. Put the timetable, study according to timetable. That will work. Then we had a lot of anger for this fellow. What timetable is going to do all this magic? I did. I just developed the timetable and it really clicked. See, when you are fixing up one particular day for 2 subjects, say law and auditing. When you are studying law, your mind will not wander to auditing, will not go to ISCA. Reason is very simple, because your mind says that you have fixed a time for the other papers. If you do and work, it will just do real magic. But don't fix in your mind, 12th September, before that I have to do some 12 chapters. Don't fix it up. So take things practically and definitely you are just getting it. Even office work also we are doing like that. So how is that you fix your filing of returns? First one, last returns firstly, correct no? Then you just take up where TDS are all paid full. Then you do that. Then you just take up all other cases. Person who is willing to take lot of risk, you put him towards the end. That is the way office work is also done. Likewise, you should also fix. And I will try one, whether it is working for you or not. 2 minutes only. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. How many hours you decide? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Any particular day, no study. Firstly, you should have that feeling. One of the days in a week, you should not study. You should not do your routines. All 7 days don't work. That may be working only for this 15 days crash course or intensified course, and not every time. Monday, what are the subjects that you have? Theory only I am just talking about right now. Audit, law. No, 2 only in a day. Don't fix too many and then you will study 15 minutes each subject and come. See, there is always a fixation like that. Next one could be ISCA and maybe IDT theory. I don't know about IDT theory or practical thing. And put law, audit. But yet I am just doing it like that. DT. And whichever subject you feel like that you are not very strong, put more representation. Where in a pulla? SFM theory. These are all only theory I am talking about. Then FR. Okay. Something like that. You give your focus like that. When you are studying this audit, your mind will not wander to law. What your mind says? Law for which I have a separate time. Right now. When you are writing examination for FR, are you thinking about SFM? Because your mind is fixed. Day after tomorrow is SFM. Likewise only. It is all mind game. Please do that. Shall I remove it? Okay. What is a bond? So don't fix impractical targets. If you put impractical targets, when you are not achieving, you will be pressing your heart and we will get into depression. Come on. Bond. What is a bond? Come on. Tell, what is a bond? Bond is an English word, no? It is derived from Sanskrit. It is derived from Sanskrit. Bandhavyam. Bondage. Correct? Raksha Bandhan is what they call. Raksha Band. What is this bond? Bond is a debt instrument. What is that? Debt instrument. Debt instrument traded in market. I mean securities market. Whereas debenture is also a debt instrument but not traded in the market. So debenture and bond are same only. Debentures are not traded, bonds are traded. That's it. It has got the same characteristic feature only. In the case of debenture, you have interest rate. Interest rate. In the case of bond, what is it you have? Coupon. What is that? Coupon rate. Coupon rate. And interest rate on the principal, you call it as interest warrant. And here, what is the name through which you call? Coupon. Are you understanding, all of you? And you have redemption. In the case of debt, you have redemption. And in the case of bond, also you have redemption. So, therefore, whatever you are imagining that it is debenture and bond are same only. So, there is only one thing that you should understand. Bond is a debt instrument which are traded in the market. Is that clear, all of you? What is the title of this particular topic? Bond valuation. Why it should be value? Because it is traded in the market. So, it is not debenture valuation. It is bond valuation. We want to know what is the price at which the bond will be traded with certain basic information. So, what is that basic information you are looking at? So, now I will start the formal discussion on bond this way. Face value of bond is, let us assume, as 10,000. Coupon rate as 10%. 10,000 rupees. Coupon rate 10%. Term, let us assume, how many years? 4 years. Correct? All of you? Now, there is something called as yield rate. This is similar to that of your what? Cost of capital. Let us assume that it is 11%. In order to know what is the price, we will be expecting the future cash flows to be discounted at yield rate. So, what are the cash flows that you would be having? I have 10% to be applied on the face value. Correct? And how much is that second year cash flow? 1,000. Third year, the cash flow will be 1,000 plus 10,000. Correct? Because you know debenture, therefore you are participating easily. Yield, there is PV factor. 1 divided by 1 plus 11% 4 decimals. Correct? So what is the price of the bond? Price of the bond is nothing but the present value of future cash flows. How do we work around? We are taking a PV factor multiplied by cash flow. So 9689.4. Now I will make those changes to the yield rate. Now I will change the yield rate from 11% to 9%. See, if I do that, what will happen to the price? Will that increase the price or decrease the price? Look into that. It is 10,323. See, instead of telling it will increase and decrease, you can put it like this way. If the yield rate is greater than coupon rate, what is that? If the yield rate is greater than coupon rate, the price of the bond will be less than the face value. If the yield rate, what was the yield rate that I have taken? Firstly, 11%. By taking 11%, what is the price of the bond? Price of the bond will be less than face value. If I keep the yield rate to 9%, what is happening to the price of the bond? Price of the bond is greater than face value. This is the first thing that you have to learn. Then people will ask a question. I have taken one rate above, one rate less. Supposing the yield rate is taken up at 10% only. Then what is going to be the magic there? The magic is a simple magic only. The price of the bond is equal to face value of the bond. So therefore we have to note down this as principle. What is that? If yield rate is greater than coupon rate, price of the bond will be lesser than face value. Correct? Are you understanding, all of you? Then next one, if now I will change it. What is that? I will change. If yield rate is lesser than coupon rate, what is that I should do? Price of the bond will be higher than face value. Next one, what is that I should do for the last one? If yield rate is equal to coupon rate, price of the bond will be equal to face value. Are you understanding, all of you? This is a basic observation that we will be making. Now, all of you closely follow. What is this yield rate? Market yield rate. If the rates are fluctuating, if Raghuram Rajan is making correction in the rate, RBI governor is just watching. If he may alters the rate of interest, market yield will be changing. Because of the market yield changing, bond value will go up and come down. So those who want to buy the bond, it should be a scenario of underpriced. Only then they will be buying. What is an ideal scenario for selling? When the bonds are overpriced. So naturally, our buying action and selling action is all dependent on not the price. The ultimate factor influencing the price being the market yield. So you should start your discussion. Okay, market yield is going up, the price will be coming down. So now itself I got to sell the bond. Later on I can buy and make profit. So if the yield rate is likely to drop, the price is likely to go up. So buy the bond now and sell the bond later. So therefore, keep a close watch on market yield, because market will influence bond. Bond price will go up or come down. Depending upon the future expectation, you take your position now. Are you understanding, all of you? So Saravanan, are you clear? So our Saravanan is having a lot of experience in share market. So please just understand, it is not share alone that people deal. Even in debt securities also people invest. So when there is a huge fluctuation happening in money market, it will affect debt market heavily than your share market. Are you understanding, all of you? So this computation, whatever we have done now, this is something similar to that of your capital budgeting topic. That is why I told you in instruction, you take up capital budgeting, bond valuation, one after the other. And most of the discussion will be very much similar. Have you made note of this one? Come on. See, is the term having any influence on the price? So, whether the term will have any influence on these principles. So, answer to that question is that whether it is 4 years bond or 5 years bond or 3 years bond, this principle will be common. So, term of the bond will not change the principle. The principle will continue to be the same whether it is 3-year or 3-year bond or 4-year bond or 5-year bond. One more important thing is that in order to call a debt instrument as a bond, it should have a minimum period of 2 years of issue. If a debt instrument, if it were to be issued only for 1 year or less than that, then it will be called as money market instrument. One and only if a bond is issued or a debt instrument when it is issued for 2 years and above, then you can call that as bond. Are you understanding, all of you? So in this bond, we have various types of bonds also. What are the various types of bonds that you have? You have plain vanilla bond, that is a normal bond, straight value bond. What is a straight bond? It will have one issue price, it will have term, it will have coupon, and it will have redemption. Plain, like basic model we were just talking about. Then when you have additional feature to the bond, and because of the additional feature only, the price would go up. So what could be that? A convertible bond. What is a convertible bond? Convertible bond, you people would have studied in FR also. What is a convertible bond? A bond, when issued, it will be a bond, and towards the redemption, the bondholders will have the option of converting the redemption value into equity shares. It is not compulsory, but they have the option. So we call this as embedded derivative. Because when you say derivative, there should be some derivative instrument to be there. And what is the derivative that you find in a bond? That being conversion option. So the host instrument is the debt and the derivative instrument is the option. So a combination of these two, we call it out as embedded derivative. One of the example for an embedded derivative is convertible bond. Then another bond also you have, that being callable bond. What is that? Callable bond. What do you mean by callable bond? Then when you ask a question, what is, when you have an instrument called callable bond, you also have another bond, puttable bond. and you also have zero coupon bond. So what are the different bonds that you have? When you are asked with short notes, bond means our mind would just say bond, what is it I will write? You can write many things. You can write a book on that. But under examination condition, what is it you would be writing? Bond is a debt instrument which will be traded in the market. Those three principles write compulsorily. Okay. And if possible, demonstrate through one example. Giving such example, is it a difficult task or easy task? Easy only. So many people have the habit of, in theory itself they will write one problem. Because for them, writing for many sentences will be very difficult, but they will demonstrate things. The examiner will be finding it very easy to understand that concept is there. So you can try that also. Then what are the different types of bonds that I have told you? How many bonds I have told you so far? What are those? Plain vanilla bond, convertible bond, callable bond, puttable bond, zero coupon bond. 5 bonds I do. You can tell these are the one full page you can write. Give lot of space also in between. Will you do or not do? I know what I know. Therefore, I know what is the space to give. But I will not openly make it very obvious that I am just giving space only for some problems. So, from the beginning itself, I will be very consistent in giving space. This also you should understand. All legitimate means at the end of the day, what should be the objective? I should clear the examination. So, I know 3 questions only. Rest of the question, 3 questions I am not knowing. So, I will give good space. From the beginning, consistent. Because one of the very important principles of accounting policy is consistency. No, you should be consistent. So, when you are giving space only for 1 out of 5, then obviously you are telling that I do not know. Do that. So, now what is it you have in the case of callable bond? Firstly, we have discussed plain vanilla bond, convertible bond I told you, then callable bond. What is callable bond? Janvi. Who will buy? We means? Are we investor or company? Not correct. Say callable bond, a bond is issued by the company. The company will issue callable bond. Why the company should issue a callable bond? From the very term itself you understand, callable means what is called? I have the right to buy, having no obligation to buy. So, firstly, let us just learn. See, people learn by mistakes only, no? So, if you just count all these experiences were all having a big story. A CFO might have issued a bond when the prevailing market rate was, say, 14% for a period of 5 years. So, soon after issuing the bond, the interest rates have fallen in the market. And the same amount of money is available at 10%. So, what others will be telling, other CEO and other directors will be telling, hey CFO, what is it you have done? 14% at which you have bought, there is borrowed money. Now it is available at 10. Since you have given them, a contract that you will repay after 5 years with principal, then for the remaining 4 years you should continue to pay at 4% extra. Are you understanding, all of you? There is no way that you can come out. So, 5 years gone like that. So, next time when they have to about to issue, then interest rate came to 14%. So, now as a CFO, what is it he should do? He should not issue plain vanilla bond. What is it? Bond he has got to issue? Callable bond only he should issue. What is the advantage of callable bond? So, when the interest rate had fallen to say 10% or 11%, so what he can do is that he will call all the bondholders, come on, all bondholders, come on. Now, I will give the bond, that is I will give you the money, give me the bond and we will cancel the old bond. Now I will issue in the market 11% and I can issue only 11. See, even the bondholders will know, even if they take the money and go elsewhere, they will be getting the same 11% only. It is better to continue with the same company with a lower rate than to switch from one company to another company. Because known devil is, you know it better. No, I am not knowing. So, because halfway through I am just telling, the remaining half you are completing. So, therefore, this sort of flexibility you get in the case of dash bond. Come on. Very nice. So, for callable bond you can write. What is puttable bond? Complete your statement. Don't tell one word. What is a puttable bond? Puttable bond means what? Correct. Now, when you just find convertible bond where the conversion right is given to the bondholder, callable bond where you find company is dominant, in a place where the company wanted to give a fair play to the bondholders, they may go in for issuing puttable bond. So, where the bondholder at any point of time, when he feels that the outside interest rate is greater than the interest rate that we are providing, so what the bondholders would do is that he will surrender the bond and take the cash and go elsewhere. Are you understanding, all of you? That means it gives enormous amount of confidence in the minds of the investor to subscribe for such puttable bond. At some point of time when he feels that he is getting a return elsewhere or some urgency for him, he can pre-close it with no penalty and he can surrender the bond, take the cash and push off. Are you understanding? That is the advantage that you get in the case of puttable bond. Then what is the next bond that I was just talking? Fifth one. Zero coupon bond. ZCB. Zero coupon bond. What is zero coupon bond? There is no coupon attached with zero coupon bond. Then how bond can be issued without coupon? That means zero coupon bond. Yes. So where issue is made at discount and redemption will be made at par in majority of the cases. Sometimes for Janvi's satisfaction purposes, it may be issued at premium also. Are you understanding all of you? So, number one, it will be issued at, definitely at discount. Redemption in majority of the cases will be at par. Sometimes it may be at premium. The difference between the issue price and the redemption value will automatically take care of finance cost. Are you understanding, all of you? So, how many types of bonds that you know? That all the, out of this 5, puttable bond we will not be discussing because that has got an advantage from the viewpoint of the investor. The remaining 4 we will be taking up for discussion. How many bonds that you know are they have discussed in our institute study material? 5. What are those? Plain vanilla bond, convertible bond, callable bond, puttable bond, zero coupon bond. Okay. This zero coupon bond or any bond for that matter where the minimum period should be 2 years. If it were to be 1 year or so in the case of zero coupon bond, it is not a bond, it is a commercial paper. So commercial paper is a shorter version of zero coupon bond. A longer version of commercial paper is zero coupon bond. Are you understanding? That's the way you can just conclude. Now, what are the types of problems that we will be encountering? Now I have told you something about bond. What are the problems that we will be facing? The problem will be, we will be asked to find out what is the price of the bond. With information like coupon rate, face value, term and yield rate. So what is it we should do? As how we have worked out, that is the way we will be working out the price of the bond. This is one problem. Another problem is that this bond will be considered just like any other project, any other capital project, any other problem in the case of capital budgeting. In capital budgeting, you have for every project something called as IRR. Like IRR, in the case of bond also, you have a term called as YTM. What is YTM? Yield to maturity. What is that? Yield to maturity. Yield to maturity and IRR are synonymous only. As how in Chennai water is referred as Thanni and how water is referred in Delhi as Pani, same way in capital budgeting what is referred as IRR. In the case of bond valuation, you have to call that as yield to maturity. That's all. Yield to maturity and IRR are same only. Okay. There can be a problem where they will be asking, find out yield to maturity. And what is the next stage? They will ask you to find out what is Macaulay's duration. What duration? Correct as or no? Macaulay's duration. Sai Jaram, solo. Macaulay duration, what is it? Macaulay's duration. And we will be asked to find out volatility. And we will be asked to find out in yield to maturity itself, there is one thing called as yield to call. What is that? Yield to call. Are you having fear on hearing this term? Yes or no? No. Then tell what is that yield to call? No. Hey, say, always remember, I have a habit of I will arouse your, what should I say, feeling like that fear feeling of kandla varanam. So I will just tell and I will watch. So the fear will always be. அதாவது எப்படின்னா ஓட விட்டுட்டு தண்ணி கொடுக்கணும். So the water will be very sweet. If I tell whatever I know, then there is no interest at all. So a sort of a interest factor that we have to do. So at a point of time when is the time in serial they cut, no? The people will be ரொம்ப important area cut பண்ணிட்டா. So you will just take the scissor. People will be thinking that he is going to stab the other person, but he will use this scissor to cut a ribbon. Next serial he will be telling. Simple only. Likewise only, in the case of plain vanilla bond, what is referred as yield to maturity? Same thing when it is callable bond, because you are redeeming it before maturity, no? So instead of calling that as yield to maturity, there we will be calling it out as yield to call. Yield to call and yield to maturity are same only. Yield to maturity is applied in the case of plain vanilla bond. If the same is applied for a reduced period for callable bond, we call that as yield to call. Okay. One of the best chapter that we have in our syllabus is this. Every chapter is like that. But personally I feel the chapter is very small, but it's got a lot of variety of problems, and the examiner can surprise you by asking questions from all areas. That is, he could just ask for even 30 marks also. In one of the examination, 30 marks are represented from bond valuation. So it can go as high as 30 marks. So mark this or mark this particular topic as less time consuming and more rewarding.